It's a very different story. It's a story about people just like you. It is not a story about heroic individualism. Security does not mean squandering all of the country's resources on war and prisons at the expense of healthcare and education. Security means affordable housing. Security means free education. Security means free healthcare. And security means compassion for one's community.
Okay, this is LGBT Facts. I am going to tell you some facts of life. Some people may not agree with me. Frankly, I don't give a shit. I am going to tell you what I know. So, first I'm going to play Is Being Gay a Choice by Thom Hartmann. I had that on my news show, and I'm having it again now because it has something to do with what I'm talking about. So here we go.
So anyway, I had this epiphany over the weekend reading this article in the New York Times, and it was just like one of these forehead slaps, and it was like, how could I have missed this for all these years? And why didn't any of my gay friends ever point this out to me? I mean, literally, how could I have missed this? First, this fellow did this survey, and he found that he's estimating that about 5% of American men are gay, okay? And on Facebook, you can say what gender you're interested in. So you can say, I'm a man and I'm interested in men, or I'm a man and I'm interested in women. So you can, be out or not. And what he found was that in the red states, in the states that are hostile to being gay, where they don't have gay marriage and things like that, it was around 1%, whereas in California it was around 3%. States where you had gay marriage that were not hostile to gays, around 3%. So there's more guys in the closet in the red states, number one. And he had a whole bunch of different, Craigslist ads, all kinds of stuff. The casual encounters, actually the highest percentages of ads on Craigslist looking for gay casual encounters are in Kentucky, Louisiana, and Alabama. Because those guys are, they're deeper in the closet, so they're more likely to use Craigslist. So anyhow, he says, but sometimes even I get tired of looking at aggregate data. This is Seth Stevens-Davidowitz. So I asked a psychiatrist in Mississippi who specializes in helping closeted gay men if any of his patients might want to talk to me. One man contacted me. This guy was in his 60s. He's a retired professor. He's been married to the same woman for 40 years. In other words, he looks to the rest of the world like a straight man. And he had only about 10 years ago in his 50s come to his therapist and finally basically admitted to anybody that he was attracted to men. Now, here's the sentence that just knocked me over. He has always known he was attracted to men, he says, but thought that that was normal and something that men hid. Now, let that settle in for a minute. You're born gay. You're attracted to men. Everybody tells you it's evil, it's wrong, don't do it, blah, 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 blah. Now, we all tend to judge others by ourselves. So, I suddenly had the answer of why these people would come on my radio program, men who claimed that they were straight. And in the case of some of them who were even married and had been for years, one of them brought his wife with him, fellow in his 60s. His wife was in her 60s. one of the leaders of the anti-gay movement, come on this radio program and insist that being gay was a choice. And I'm sitting here going, I was born knowing that I was interested in girls, not boys. How could anybody not know that? And when I read this sentence, he had always known that he was attracted to men, he says, but thought that that was normal and something that other men hid. Suddenly the penny dropped for me. These guys are all gay. And they're judging the rest of the world by themselves. And they think that they have made the moral judgment. And they're assuming that I have, talking to me, I'm, ostensibly straight and I'm married and I've got kids and all that kind of stuff. So, I must be hiding or fighting my desires too, right? I mean, literally. And in fact, it's interesting because I've on a couple of occasions in having these debates with these guys who are, against gay marriage and homosexuality is an evil thing and it's a choice. When they come on my program, occasionally they've been on the program in my physical presence, and more than once I've gotten the vibe that it's almost like a flirt vibe. And it just suddenly hit me. These guys are all gay, and they think that every man has this. They think that every man feels the way they do. They're judging the world by themselves. And it just hit me what a horrible tragedy this is. And how many generations this has been going on, that these gay men, they're born gay and they have to literally spend their entire lives living a lie, fighting the impulse, because it's the right thing to do. In fact, if you Google, is my husband, and, the autofill in Google, the most common next word is not, is my husband having an affair, which you would think. The most common next word is gay. And you see those searches in particular in the red states. Because these are women who have married guys who really are gay, but they are not acknowledging it to their wives, they're not acknowledging it to themselves, and they're not acting out on it. They're just swallowing it, to mangle a metaphor. They're just saying, that's it. I'm, denying it. Living a life denial.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm honest with you all the time. I'm honest with everybody, except maybe the IRS. But what I want to talk about is that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual. It is not a choice. God doesn't hate gays. The Bible may say so in some areas, but the Bible also has some very important gay people in it. But they didn't put that in the King James Version. There's a lot of the Bible that's not in the Bible. And we're told in church that the Bible is the Word of God. I don't believe that's true. Look at the King James Version. It was written by people that King James had translated. It was translated from Greek to Latin to English. And not everything went into the King James Version, and some things were changed. The Bible was written by people, not by God. God didn't sit over and say, do this, do that, say this, say that. what happened was that people of the church wrote the Bible. And it's not all true. I don't think it's really supposed to be all true. I think it's sort of like a how-to manual on life, what the writers thought, plus that there is some history in it. Some facts in the Bible have been proven scientifically. Adam and Eve probably wasn't really the way it happened in the Bible, but according to DNA, we're all related. It all goes back to one man but two women. This is a scientific fact. It started in Africa, which means that we're all in the black race. Actually, there's no such thing as a black race, white race, Asian. Used to be Orientals, but not all Asians are Orientals. Not all Asians are the same. You got some blacks there, you got some whites there, you got everything there. You got all around the world, you got different races now in the same place. But again, they aren't different races. It's all one race. The change was when they got to different areas of the world. Native Americans would be the same race as Asians. They came from Mongolia, which I mentioned before, but that's not the main subject. When we are born with X chromosome or Y chromosome. I keep forgetting which one is male and which one is female. We are also born with sex organs. When we are conceived, it could go either way. And at times, a person is born with a penis and a vagina. It used to be that when that happened, doctors never told anybody which it was, or that it was both sexes, based on the organs. And the doctor just made one sex. Got rid of something. Most of them were made in the males. But the doctor had a 50-50 chance of being wrong. And this happens a lot. And sometimes a person is born with the male organs but female chromosomes, and vice versa. A lot of transsexuals, you'll hear them say that they're a woman trapped in a man's body or a man trapped in a woman's body. And when they have the surgery, they get it right. A sex change shouldn't really be called a sex change. It should be called a sex correction. Because what they're doing is they're correcting the way the child is born. Or the doctor's mistake. Now, men have nipples just like women do. I say that the reason for that is because, as I said, when we are conceived, it can go either way on the sex. I think that's the reason why men have nipples. Now, when it comes to gays and lesbians, and bisexuals too, gays are attracted to men, even though they're men. Lesbians are attracted to women. Bisexuals are attracted to both. That's something that's inside. Something you're born with. And those people that say, we can change it, have been proven wrong thousands of times. They can't change it. The preachers that say that gays are all going to hell, gays should be killed, God hates gays. I don't think God hates anybody. We're all God's children. I'm not saying that God is everyone's father. I think God started off. But he gave us a mind where we could think. And as time went on, men and women learn how to communicate. And they get smarter and smarter. Now the problem is, some of them are too damn smart for our good. But then a lot of them are stupid. You look at those who are ruining our ecosystem, and to me, they're stupid. They're stupid or they're greedy. They sit there and tell you that global warming is not a fact. I've been around for a long time. Global warming is a fact. It may not seem that way on a cold day like today here, but usually this time of year it's a little bit colder. Anyway, this is not a climate change editorial. I have known a lot of gays. I have known transsexuals. My second wife's aunt was her uncle when I knew him. He had bigger boobs than my wife did. And he was pretty cute. And he easily had guys thinking he was a woman. And he was. It's just that he had the wrong plumbing. Now, people find out that it was a transsexual, like, especially when guys find out. They think that they were sleeping with a man. They weren't. It was a woman. If she's had the sex change, she is a woman. Even if she hadn't had a sex change, she is a woman. Simple as that. You know, the biggest problem is religion. The The biggest problem are bigots. They gotta hate somebody. Whites, a lot of bigoted whites hate blacks and Asians. A lot of bigoted Christians hate Jews and Muslims. Buddhists don't seem to get a whole lot of the flack because they pretty much are quiet. But the thing is that I do believe in God. I believe that God started it all. And I believe that when he started it all, he let it go on its own. When you have someone that's gay, it's not a mistake of God. It's just happened. And as I say, once God started, he said, well, let's let it go on its own. Now, many years ago, I didn't like gays. I was young and stupid. I saw them a lot after I got out of high school. In high school, I never noticed. When I went in the Navy, I noticed. I've had men make passes at me. And it really turned me off. And there had been times when I went gay bashing when I was 19. We never bashed them. What happened is we were going to, it was said, roll a queer. I'm not proud of this, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. It was my stupidity. A guy I know and I were going down the street. I was a decoy. I was sashaying down the street. He was following me. And I was going to get something started with a gay guy, and then he and I were going to roll him. Really didn't find anybody. And went into a bar that ended up being a gay bar. The bartender made a pass at me. And he was a lot bigger than I was, and looked like he could kick the shit out of me easily. Told my friend, I said, you know, this isn't working. Then I was down in Key West in the early 60s. And during the winter, the gay population of the city increased. And the division officer would tell us before going on leave that, remember, the gays from the north are coming down. And active or passive, you're out. Well, I really didn't think much of it. And this buddy of mine and I were walking down the street. He's a little guy. Minimum height to get in the Navy. But he was tough. He could beat up anybody 2 or 3 times his size. This couple was walking down the street hand in hand. And he didn't like it. So he said to one of them, "What sex are you?" The guy said, "Both." So anyway, one guy was real big, and he hit the guy in the stomach hard as he could, and the guy didn't even flinch. And he looked at my friend and smiled and said, "You know, there's one thing I like better than sucking dick, and that's beating the shit out of straight people." And of course we ran. Luckily he didn't chase us, because he probably could have caught us. I was wrong. What really changed my mind was when I got to know people who were gay. When my second wife and I got married, we were a mixed couple. Well, through our whole marriage, we were a mixed couple. She's still black and I'm still white, even though my friends say I'm black. But a gay couple came up to us in the store, and this was a little over 30 years ago. And it still wasn't accepted. In the suburbs especially. In the city it wasn't so bad. Because Detroit at the time was probably, I think, about 80% black. Maybe a little bit less. And the gay couple were a mixed couple too. And so the black guy said, he smiled, and he said, "You know, I really like seeing mixed straight couples, because it sort of tells me that you people are more accepted now, and that means we will be." I said to him, I said, "Well, we really aren't that accepted. We have our problems too." But, and actually in the 60s, and maybe even early 70s, in a lot of states, it was illegal for mixed couples to get married. They could go to prison for it. Stupidity. The whole anti-gay thing is stupidity. When it comes to gay marriage, to me, it's good. Love is what counts, not your sex. And I don't think the state has any right to have anything to do with marriage. The only time the state should get involved is when the people split up and there's a property dispute or a dispute over the children. Other than that, the state should have no business being involved. You shouldn't have to get a marriage license. There shouldn't be any legal thing to do with marriage. It's interfering with our rights. It's interfering with religion. I had a girlfriend. Didn't want to get legally married to her, but I wanted to be with her. And I had talked to a minister, and he said he could bless our relationship, our union. But legally he couldn't mention a husband and wife or marriage. Now, to me, that's wrong. That's the state interfering in religion. But he said it would be the same in God's eyes as a marriage. So the girlfriend and I liked that idea. But she talked to her mother. Her mother said, "No, can't do it, can't do it." And she honored her mother's wishes, which meant that we didn't stay together. We really loved each other, too. Right now, I have a soulmate, and we're talking about living together. I told her, I said that it wouldn't be good for us to get married. First of all, my credit rating is so bad it might affect hers. Secondly, since I am on Social Security and Medicare, it wouldn't help her anyway. She'd still have to have her own health insurance. And I had a lot of other reasons that I won't go into, but I figure I'm going to be 70 next year. And I need to be with someone. And she feels she needs to be with someone. She's got 2 kids, 14 and 23, I think. Both of the kids love me, think of me as a father. In fact, she was a crack addict, and the kids were in the system for most of their lives. And, the daughter, 14 years, and the son is 15 now. He was in for 14 years. And they don't trust adults, but they trust me. It seems like everybody trusts me. I'm a good con artist when I have to be. But I don't use that ability that much. Only when I'm in trouble. Anyway, the thing about it is that marriage is between you, the individual, and, if you wish, between the two of you and God. A church wedding, if you need that, fine. It's a good thing for you. And if you're both male or both female, it should not make a difference. So, this is a short one. Recap. It is not bad to be gay. It is not a choice to be gay. It's not a mental illness. It's a fact of life. It's a natural thing. And anybody that says differently, anybody that tries to drag you down because of it, they're wrong. And to me, God gonna be looking down on them and saying, you're full of shit, you better change. Because when it comes to the end, you're gonna go to hell, not the gay person. So the most unchristian people are ministers, especially the evangelists, the Christian right. It used to be called the Christian majority. Well, they ain't right, and they ain't the majority. They're a bunch of fools. Don't listen to them. And the sad thing is, they destroyed the Republican Party. And, of course, the Democratic Party isn't a hell of a lot better, but it is better. So, I'm going to call it an end. Want you all to have a good day. Want you to have a good week, good month, good year. Most of all, I want you to have a beautiful life. Thank you for being you, and TGYA, thank God you're alive.